unfortunately. What Ian told Kaysar about them trying to get him to target Bay and Day, Kaysar told Bay and Day so they're on board, you know, to work with Ian. And then Bay ran to Cody with the information about Ian knowing about everything. And now Nicole knows that Ian is done with her, so it really sucks. Tyler and Kaysar touch base, and Tyler and Ian touch base. I think Tyler's just telling Ian what he wants to hear about, you know, him being safe and telling him if people are talking about him. Tyler, though, you know, has bigger fish to fry, and that Ian is not one of them. But I'm really scared for Ian now that everything got out. I mean, we all knew it was a matter of time before Ian talking and what he was saying would get out to this group. All right, so I wanted to go over my thoughts, reaction to Thursday's episode. Ian definitely got the mastermind edit since they don't want to include the whole wall yeller situation, but still wanted to include, you know, Ian's revelations. It just made him seem super smart. I knew they would do this because, I mean, what else were they going to show? It was really sad watching this episode because I knew it was Kaysar's last episode. I had some type of hope that he would be able to at least make it to jury. I was hoping that they would introduce the twist for him, but no, we get BB Basement after Janelle, after Kaysar, Christmas's speech, the vote, the HOH way rhyme. I mean, good for her for memorizing that and rhyming it, but it was just like, ew. Especially the vote the HOH way, like, how boring. Kaysar's speech was iconic. Sure, it could have been more explosive, but he still kept it classy and true to himself. I'm glad he called out some people, even though he really doesn't have a lot of credit since they don't trust him, but it was still fun for me to watch it. Danny saying she's never said a bad thing about Kaysar is just like, all right. Pretty sure that's a lie. Ian calling Kaysar his friend was so sweet. Of course, there were no sympathy votes. Nobody wants to be aligned with Kaysar and have that target on their back. Especially after, you know, Ian's whole situation got found out and he got himself in hot water. And now neither side of the house trusts him. Day's love for Kaysar was also really sweet. So there were some icy hugs at the end of it. Kaysar hugged everyone, but Danny and Nicole gave him super icy hugs. Nicole's face when Kaysar hugged her was like, you know he's getting uninvited to her wedding. Julie revealed the core alliance. I wonder why she doesn't say Enzo. You know, she did the whole committee group and Kaysar was shook. I guess because that would probably be more shocking to them that their buddy Memphis is in the core with that group, but they don't really care about Memphis. Memphis is just there riding along until it's his time. I mean, he's floating on by, so good for him, but definitely Enzo is in that core and not Memphis. Really freaked Kaysar out about the public voting him in. He thought it was, now I think we all did, just the way it was worded made it sound like the public voted him in again to go back in this season. But she was like, no, 15 years ago. And he was like, whew, he does not want to go back in that house, and I don't blame him. So it was a knockout HOH. These reveal a lot about who you're working with and who you want out. The first two people up were Kevin and Ian, and I was like, ugh, no. And Ian lost that one. A lot of them lost just by clicking in too early without really fully seeing it. You get nervous and you click. And I think it's also difficult since there are 3 buttons. It's very easy to click the wrong one, especially when things are at such a fast pace. So yeah, my hope of an Ian HOH was gone so quickly. I was really hoping he'd pull this off, but yeah, not even close. Kevin was saying he was so weirded out. He's like, okay, Cody and Nicole. I'm like, yes, Cody and Nicole, but weirded out? No, that's just, you want one of them out. It's not like the wall yeller yelled about them running the house or anything. Poor Day had to go up so many times. I was really hoping for a Day HOH. I was like, she finally gets to win an HOH, she gets to see her daughter. This would be so great for her. But yeah, they kept putting her in there and it was obvious. I think Danny did her and Bae against each other. I mean, the thing is, you do duos against each other, so you get one of them out, so. But it doesn't mean it looks great, and people already don't like Danny. So Day went so many times for Christmas to stand there and win. It was just like, oh my god, I've lost so much hope. So Julie talks about the BB basement, and there's 3 powers, and I'm here hoping that Ian could see in the dark. Maybe he has some great nocturnal vision that we don't know about, but that would be lovely because I'm really scared for him. Yeah, this week, what a disappointment. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing updates as frequently. I have a lot going on, and this season is just not exactly holding my attention as it did in the beginning, losing a lot of people I like, so we'll see. But as to what happened after the HOH comp, Christmas obviously wants to nominate Bae and Day. Tyler was trying to steer her away from it, but being like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But trying to push for Danny as well, but Christmas wasn't really biting. Tyler kind of gave up on that and was like, okay, well, when you nominate Bae and Day, lock yourself in the HOH room because Bae's not going to be happy and you don't want to be yelled at. So Ian was obviously forced to rekindle things with Nicole, but Nicole obviously still distrusts him, that whole side distrusts him, they want him out, and now Bae and Day's side want him out, they don't trust him, so things aren't looking good for my boy Ian. But Ian basically blamed things on Kaser, which is the best bet because he's not in the house anymore, but you know, Janelle and Kaser live rent-free in everyone's minds. Nicole thinks that Ian betrayed her, and Tyler and Danny were like, no, he didn't, like, you guys are still friends. So Ian did speak to Bae after that whole thing and just kind of pinning things on Kaser and trying to smooth things over. But Ian called Bae Day like 3 times and Bae was not happy about it. Yeah, that's not good. And she was talking to Day after about how she doesn't even have her own identity in this house, that everybody just thinks they're the same person. So looks like David, Bae, Day, and Kevin formed an alliance. Bae was being super snappy. She was not happy and she was snapping a lot at Kevin. I know that they don't exactly have the best relationship, but yeah, I was just like, okay. Day and Nicole spoke about the knockout comp. Nicole was wondering if Day was the one that told Kevin to have Cody and Nicole go against each other. Day was like, no. Nicole's like, I wouldn't have chosen you. And Day actually brought up Nicole celebrating with Christmas when she won. And you could tell a lot about who people are aligned with and who they don't want to win just by how they celebrate with whoever wins HOH. It's just really obvious and it's just something you have to pay attention to. And Day saw it and Nicole was like, no, I would have celebrated like that with you too. And it's like, yeah, right. So yeah, that is all I have. Let me know what you thought about the episode and what's going on in the house. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it and I'm still gonna enjoy Big Brother. Like, I love the game. It's rough now that Janelle and Kaser are gone and Ian's not in a great position. This big alliance is, you know, running through the outsiders and they're gonna make it to the end.